ఇది కావాలి. జే ఇక్కడ ఇది వచ్చి నన్ను రెడ్ లైట్ కాలిచ్చి చేసేది ఇంట్రెస్ట్ పోయినాడు మాలలో ఇక్కడ వాడికి ఇంట్రెస్ట్ పోయడానికి అలా జీకి కొమ్మివు ఇలా ఆ ఏమైంది Earbuds కొత్తవి నీవి
Hello. Uh, Dr. Praveen, am I visible?
Manikanta, we are able to see you.
Yeah, great, great. Yeah, yes.
Just we'll start in 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
So just you can share your screen. Is it visible? Like can we see your
Okay,
topic?
okay, okay, okay. Give me a minute. I'll share it. Okay, so share it. I hope it's visible. Is it visible?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Okay, perfect. Sure.
We'll start at sharp 6:05. Now it's
Okay,
six
okay.
three. We'll start at sharp 6:05.
Sure, sure.
Good evening, all the students.
Good evening, sir.
Uh, Good evening. Thank you all for joining at sharp 6 o'clock. First of all, I would like to thank Manikanta for accepting our request and taking the session to help us. What is the datathon? How we need to do the data? How to participate for the datathon? What exactly we need to do during this datathon? Everything he will give the complete information. And let me brief about Manikanta. He is doing PhD from Delhi, IIT Delhi, and he is currently working as a research scholar. And he gave a lot of sessions for under this Click program in various education institutions, as well as I saw his YouTube channel also. He is sharing a lot of contents about the computer science technologies and programming languages as well, and how to crack the IITs, a PhD in IIT, like that. These type of things he shared a lot of videos. So I think he is the right person who who help us to crack a job or to get the knowledge in the data analytics. Once again, I thank Manikanta for accepting our request and taking the and giving your free time to enhance to enrich our students. Thank you, Manikanta. We'll proceed.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really grateful at the outset to the amazing institute and Dr. Praveen and Sikha and Dr. Shikha and Pankaj for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. So basically, I'll be talking more from the data perspective, right? And how to analyze the data and what to communicate out of the data. And I'm sure you have coming up, a big datathon is coming up. So basically, when you are presenting, my whole focus will be on when you are presenting insight out of your data, how you should do it and what mistake you should not do it, right? So basically, I'll talk about data analysis and how to present the story out of it and so on and so forth, right? And of course, I'll also in the last, if time permits, so I will also cover the how to, how the career as a career in a click sense, or, once you have finished your this learning, how you can go about making career and start your job, something like that. So I'll try to cover that things, right? And I'll just let me first share the screen. Is that visible?
No.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So it's visible, right? Okay. So the format will be like that. So first, I'll try to get this some fundamental, try to set the context, right? And then we'll move on to the hands-on part. And last will be Q&A. And if I can share some of the success story of my students, those who got through the Click Sense course, and then they were able to do a good thing at industry they are doing currently, right? At Tech Lead and all. So with this, let's start. Again, I'm grateful for the opportunity. And just one disclaimer. So basically, I'm completely into the different currently into different profession. Like, I mean, the research, right? So I'm not that much hands-on currently on the Click as I used to be earlier. But still, I'll try my best to convey some good hands-on learning here. So basically, I started my career as a BI consultant more than 12 years back. So my first job was in Bajaj R&D Pune as a BI consultant, where my job was to implement the HR module. But then subsequently, I moved into the academia for research and teaching activities and all. So with this, I'll just proceed. So a couple of things. So I'm currently a research fellow at IIT Delhi. I'm quite active in educational space with a lot of volunteer service to the education community as a regional mentor at Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog. I am also a Kaggle X data science mentor by 2013, 2023 and 2024. And in 2018, I was a machine learning crash course facilitator. So I'm quite active and I love to do this because I think it is very important to mentor the current generation, young generation, because it's a highly dynamic time. Now, so let's start with it, right? So basically, I hope you all are excited like me. I am very excited whenever I see the data. Please let me know whenever you want to stop me. So basically, very simple thing I want to talk about. One is about data, how to go about analysis, and then visualization. And at the end, it is a story that does matter. All right. At the end, what story you tell out of your data or analysis, right? That's the only thing that matter. And I will also show you some of my own research work which I presented somewhere. That will be also maybe informative for you. So if you look at this, so one request I'll make with everyone is that please be involved, right? So as Benjamin Franklin said, right? Tell me, I'll forget, right? And if you are involved, maybe you can learn better, right? Just a minute, I'm just resizing my screen, maybe. Yes, that's better. Or maybe I can just make it gallery view. Sorry. Okay, anyways, it doesn't matter. Yes, it's much better now. Yeah, so please be involved and please do ask me questions whenever you have, right? Or you want to share something. So,
Manikanta,
yeah, am I
one
audible?
minute. Could you please ask the students to mute themselves?
Yeah.
It may not be disturbed during session also. Whenever you
Yeah.
ask, then only ask them to open and ask them to share. Okay, if they
Yeah.
are asking any question or anything else, just ask them to put it in the chat. Later
Chat.
you can see.
Yeah. That will be great. Yeah. So please mute yourself. That will really help us to go through timely, right? Okay. So basically, I'll say involve. You can write in the chat box, and maybe like when we take a break in between, we can look at the chat box, and we can at the end discuss as well. So basically, you need to involve because that's one of the best way to learn, right? If you simply passively listening, maybe not good idea, right? When you involve yourself, then you really get most out of this kind of sessions. So basically, you remember the first thing is data, right? So if you look at the data, this is a very famous infographic that every year some company publishes, right? And this time is like low click, right? So it is of 2024. What happens 1 minute on internet, right? When you spend 1 minute, people spend 1 minute on internet, this much data is generated, and it is no wonder. right? Since morning till evening, if you look at your life, right, we do generate a lot of data, either in terms of email, we write emails to our colleague, to our faculty members, to our students, or we do a lot of social media, right? We send a lot of messages to our family members. So even you think of a very minimal activity also, then also it is a very large amount of data that is being generated, right? So it's very needless to say that we are in big data era, or even beyond that, we do not know. We are now in LLM era, right? And these all are being powered because of the data. And who is generating this data? It is we people who is generating this data, right? Imagine how many photos you take in one day, maybe like 5, 6, 10, right? Depending on your activity. If it is a festival, it is even more, and so on and so forth. So if you carefully look at it, right, it is not only that text data is only being generated. We have all kinds of data, multimodal data, right? Images, videos, and whatnot, right? You better look at your phone gallery, you will find out what kind of data is more there, right? So what does it mean? Like data is of varied nature in the in the social media space or any of the data space, right? It is of different kinds, and it is in very large volume, velocity, veracity, and so on and so forth. So this is a truly a digital age, right? If I born in late 90s, sorry, late 80s, so I'm a digital immigrant, but you guys are digital native. If you're born after 95 or so, so you're digital native. So basically, and those who are born in these after 2000, they are perfectly the digital native, right? That means the in our life the data came, or digital revolution came, but you guys are born in that era, right? So this is how, and which is empowering all the disruption that is happening around us. Now, if you look at this, why we are talking about, why this data is very important. The reason is, if you look at the entire space, right? Sorry, if you look at the entire space, what our job is to, so a lot of data is unstructured, right? You understand this structure and structure. It is not in typical RDBMS format, relational database format, right? Row and columns. So for the images, text, comments, likes, reviews, right? These all are the outer world. If you see the real world, this is very unstructured information, right? Which is which is amounting to a lot of data, right? And when you transform, when you filter it, transform it, you do all sorts of pre-processing, right? Then you are preparing a data set. There is a difference between data and data set, right? So data set. So for example, when you go through this datathon, you will have some a data set that you will work on, right? So data set is very particular about particular topic, right? So let's say student performance, right? So do understand the difference between data and data set, right? Data set is one of the part of the maybe large chunk of data, and that too for a very specific purpose. So basically, outer world is quite messy, right? And you do a lot of pre-processing, transformation, and then your data is ready to analyze, right? Or to get some insight out of it, right? Now, when you look at the audience side, right? This should be very structured information. You cannot say very information that is very disconnected in a manner which is not making any sense out of it, right? So you have to connect each and every dot, right? So information that is coming out of the data should be very structured. And this is the first step of the consuming the product or coming out of the data, that is the information by the end user, right? Audience, right? But it doesn't stop there, right? Information, it passed to the knowledge. Then further, what do you do when you have knowledge, right? You take some action, right? Why you take some action? For example, if you know that you are likely to fail in your mid semester exam, what will you do? You will do some action, right? You will read, right? Or a business knows that they are going into the loss if they do not perform, right? So they take some action with that knowledge, right? And this is what they take to the next level. Okay, this time it happened, how we can avoid it? So in any business setting, if you look at it, any business setting, right, there are two main important objective of any business organization. One, how to increase the revenue, right? Ultimately, it is the capitalist world, right? Everything is being manipulating or analyzed for converting into the some capital gain, right? A classical example is human behavior, right? Nowadays you see all the companies are trying to understand human behavior, and how? Through your data, through digital traces, right? So once it is converted into the information, then transform into the knowledge, further they convert into the wisdom. Wisdom is they take proactive action, that you call predictive analytics, right? right? So you remember in olden days we used to go to the sage or monk or any of the person who thinks who we think that they are wise people and they get advice and something like that. So likewise in today's world, the business analyst or the data scientist, they are this wisdom guy, the sage, the monk, right, who is giving the right advice, right? So finally, so this is entire value chain in a rough sense, right? So you have outer world, then you communicate your analysis, and finally audience consume it, and based on that audience takes some decision, right? And that is why data literacy come in play a very very important role nowadays. If you see, if you are using any kind of internet connected device, right, let's say your TV, digital TV, do you know that if you are in computer science, you might be reading the ACM magazine, right? So if you look at the last month ACM magazine, there is a nice article that says every minute your TV is taking snapshot if it is connected with the internet and sending the data. God knows to whom, right? To the Google, to the OS provider, or the company itself. We do not know, right? So every minute digital traces are being manipulated, analyzed, just to understand your behavior and convert into the capital gain for some kind of recommendations. So this is whole idea. So you need to be very, very data literate these days. What data to share, what context to share, how much to share, right? To whom to share, and all that. And what happens if you do not understand the data literacy? If you do not have a data literacy, then somebody else is making, decision on your behalf, right? So it is very important to understand what is the data literacy. It is important to educate your people that your data is very important. It holds value. It holds privacy is important. Ethics is important, right? So this is some basics aspect of data literacy. Now, if you look at this data, right, if you look at this table, right, it is very difficult to make any sense out of it by looking at it, right? So ultimately what you do, no matter how fancy analysis you do, you apply machine learning, you apply deep learning, you apply statistics, no matter how fancy techniques you apply, method you apply, but ultimately the representation goes into the visualization, right? So when you are visualizing it, uh, how easy it is for users, consumers to understand it, right? That is very important. That is very, very important, right? So cognitive load should be very minimal, with very minimal cognitive load. The user should be able to understand it, right? That is your job, but at the same time, it should be insightful as well. So if you look at this table, it is very difficult to make sense out of it. But if you look at this graph, right? If you look at this graph, which is line graph, what you see is you are easily able to understand the trend, right? But it is the same data that was presented in a table. It is just now presented into the graph, right? And which is very less cognitive load on your mind. You see there is a trend that is going up and down, up and down, up and down, right? That makes it's very easy on mind, right? So insightful, at the same time, less cognitive load. That is two important aspect of any data visualization that you make, right? Again, at this point, you should know one more thing that we'll talk about further. But yeah, let's go ahead. So if our mind is like, visualization is very interdisciplinary field. It is studied by computer science people, psychology people, then design people, and so on and so forth. Our mind is very, very good at, finding the pattern. Right. So if you are used to see something very regularly every day, but you find something different, your mind will give you some insight. Oh, why it is something? It feels it is not like that before, right? So the idea is because our mind is very very good at uh, finding the pattern, which is all about finding the pattern, explanation what for that pattern, and how you can use that pattern. So it's a very simple example. For example, you see in any e-commerce platform, right? So at which time you log in, which time you surf the e-commerce app or something like that, right? So they give you recommendation or offer based on that. Now, if you look at this visualization type, there are different types of visualization. One is like anyone can easily understand, right? Then there is very specific visualization, right? Then there are very complex visualization that is made for the expert. So what does it tell us, right? That understanding the audience for your visualization is very, very important. If you do not know your audience, to whom you are going to connect, to whom you are going to communicate, it is very, very important to understand that, right? So what if you look at this, one of the executive from the fast company says, data is increasingly important in all business. And we are now seeing an acknowledgement that if you don't have good data visualization, then your insights are less apparent, resonate less with the audience, and harder to communicate, right? So that means picking up the right visualization to the right audience, right, with right insight is very, very important. Now, if you look at this, like when we look at the data visualization, right, when we visualize the data, so basically what are the functions of data that we are trying to, that we're trying to communicate, right? One, how data is changing over a time, right? Or how distribution is changing, how we are defining the relationship, right? Whether it is a part to whole or whether it is a correlation, how flow of information is happening, whether we are ranking it in terms of their, some kind of dimension, right? Then idea is whether we want to show it, for example, when you're showing spatial data, right? You want to show geographics of the origin of the data or the origin of that particular analysis, right? Area wise, that we'll see in further slide as well. So you have to remember these functions of visualization, why we are doing it, what is the purpose of it. And accordingly, your visualization will be changing, right? Sometimes what you have to do is we are very used to of this comfortable visualization, right? So if you look at this, if you're trying to rank something, right, from ascending to descending, descending to ascending, or larger to bigger, bigger to smaller, something like that, right? So maybe we traditionally we use horizontal bar chart, right? But you can use the bump chart or slope chart as well. So if line graph, you typically use line graph that is changing over a time. You might use calendar heat map or stacked graph, right? So there are different alternative depending on the to whom you want to communicate, right? So if you are making your visualization for top business management, maybe you can go with the heat map or stack area. If you are talking to a layman person, maybe line graph is a good choice, right? So audience does matter. Similarly goes for the pie chart, histogram, scatter plot, right? So selection of the visualization, you have worked hard for your analysis, right? But at the end of the day, you need to communicate it very nicely. So selection very, very important. You should always think, okay, I have plotted it like this. Can I do it differently? And will that differently will add some more context, some more insight to it? Is there any question so far? Should I go ahead? Yes, no? Anyone? Okay, so I assume, okay. I think I am unable to see the chat, maybe, right? Okay. Fine. Okay. Thanks. So let's go to the next part. Now, this is very important, right? I'll also share with you, or if you have already seen it, then it is even better. So the idea is, see, one thing is that when we look at the data, then we have to ask two questions from the data, right? There are two scenarios possible. One, you might have certain question for that you are looking for an answer, right? I will give you a very quick example. Once I taught a class for the digital electronics, and most of the students failed in that class, and I was teaching multiple section. So I saw that in some of the section student did very well, and some of this section student was performing very bad. So my boss told me, hey, how are you teaching? And as a teacher, I was not biased, right? But definitely I had a different set of a student. But I was very good at data, right? I went back to the data and I looked at the student's background. So I was teaching subject like a very complex subject like digital electronics, which requires a lot of mathematics, right? Boolean algebra, all that. So one of the class who performed very bad, actually, they were not having a background in algebra, right? They were not having background in mathematics. They were coming from the commerce, right? And then I told my professor that, hey, my boss, hey, you need to give them some preparatory classes for mathematics, right? So what does it mean? It means whenever you are trying to argue your insights, right, you have to back up with your analysis, right? So that's how you convey your insight. That's how you argue with your or you present your case when you are in working in an organization, right? Why your analysis is correct. So in that case, I was knowing what is the question. I wanted to know that why students are performing bad, and I had a data, but it is not always the case. Sometimes you have data, you don't have a question. Then you need to see what answers I can get out of this data. You look at the data. You like a detective. You look at the data, you open the data, and then you think, okay, I can get this particular analysis, I can get this particular analysis, right? And as you experienced, it becomes very, easy to understand the patterns as you work more. Okay, so there can be two possible scenarios. You have a question, you have a data, and you just try to find the answer. Sometimes you don't have a question, you have data, and you try to understand. For example, there's something wrong going on in your organization. Your product is not working. So you will look at the data. One of the classical example is that if you remember, the Chandrayaan 3 failed. 3 or 2, I do not remember correctly. Yeah, so it failed. Then what ISRO said, they are going to analyze the data. They will look into data, what was the cause, because they have the log file and digital traces. So that is the important thing about the data. Now, similarly, when you are analyzing, what is purpose of analyzing? Whether I want to show relationship, right? Whether I want to show distribution. So let's say I have a 10 product, how all 10 products are performing, then how we can show it? By distribution, right? Or if I want to show relationship of two things, like for example, time versus productivity, then maybe we can plot it on a scatter plot, which time of the day is more productive, right? Okay. Likewise. So you have to be very, very good at selecting your chart. Similarly, if you look at the comparison, so there are various ways to compare, right? Then you need to understand, for example, when you are comparing two trains, then we can go with the line chart, right? You are comparing two different categories, maybe like you can go with a bar chart. So among time, there are different dimensions, whether you're looking at the time, whether you're looking at the relationship, whether you're looking at the magnitude, right? Based on that, your chart selection will happen. And remember, it's very, very crucial. So if you look at this, in this example, if you see that rides by month, it is some taxi ride analysis, rides by month, that is, it is against time dimension, right? Then rides by week, rides by month and age group. Demographic information come into play, right? You are including the age as well, right? Similarly, so if you see, these are all comparison over a time, right? And accordingly, they have selected the visualization. So if you see, they are comparing it quarter wise, then they are trend lines, right? Or ages, right? If we are comparing ages, or if we are taking by month, then they have used stacked chart, right? Stacked bar chart, which is completing the area. Similarly, it goes for the composition also. So there are a couple of times which we'll look into the further slides, how this composition and other dimensions come into the play when we are trying to convey some kind of insights, right? So if you look at this, this is changing over a time, many periods, relative and absolute, right? It is again an example of composition. So for example, if you look at this pie chart is telling us composition of gender, male or female, right? Then how it is changing over a period of time, and so on and so forth. So far, to summarize what we did so far, right? It is important to understand your data that you are trying to visualize. All the all the properties of data, the data types, the domain of the data, understanding the difference between data and data set, right? Okay, then once you have understood your data, you have spent enough time as a detective on data, and you also know your research, or you also know the questions that you want to answer through your data, right? If you do not know, then go for exploratory, see what is a possibility. You can do different kind of exploratory analysis on data, right? Based on this. So for example, if you in your data, if you have a time series, you can make a trend. If you have demographic data, you can show different categories of demographic, right? If you have a spatial data, you can visualize different kind of map. So understanding data is very crucial. Then according to that data, according to your purpose, objective, you need to select a visualization, right? And then you have to convey those meaning in a very simple way, right? That is insightful, at the same time, not so cognitive load is there to understand that, right? Now look at some examples. So in this way, in this example, I would like to use chat and tell me what is happening in this visualization. What is this visualization is all about? I'll wait for a second. I'll wait for a minute, right? So can you tell me like what is happening in this visualization? You may write in a chat bot, a chat box. Take a look and just write what information it is giving us. Can you be quick? Because we have hands-on as well, right? Anyone? Anyone, can you write? What information we are getting? It's a completely real world example just from 2-3 years back. Or just tell me, is this visualization selection is correct? The kind of information this image is giving, is the visualization selection is correct? You can give me reaction. I have typed. State-wise vaccine, okay. Number of vaccination by Indian state, okay. Go ahead, go ahead. Be involved. You remember the quotation by Benjamin Franklin? You need to involve yourself. Put little bit your thinking cap on. Look at all the questions. So are you getting insight out of it easily? When you look at this, are you able to understand the
No.
information easily? Good. Can you think of it differently? Can it be visualized differently? Or it is the best visualization selection? Yes, no? Different colors can be good, used, very good, very good. How to pronounce it? Ramavat. Really, this is very good observation. And this visualization is coming from the newspaper itself. Remember, a newspaper is read by very common people, right? So you have to make visualization very easy, very correct, factually correct, a good narrative out of it, right? So it can be visualized better. That is very good observation, right? What else? What else can be done? There are many ways, right? So what I want to convey you through this exercise is there is no one final visualization. There is always a scope to improve your visualization. Look at from all the angles. Look from the layman angles, right? Because this information is supposed to be spread to all the Indians, right? How each state is doing in terms of vaccination, right? So you see there is something called NA, right? That means some information is not available. But more or less, this visualization is doing good job because by looking at one particular visualization, I'm able to see the entire, the vaccination in India. Yes, no? Yes or no? Maybe you can be active in chat. Yeah, right. So more or less, it does a good job, but there is a enough improvement need to be there, right? Maybe state name can be differently visualized and so on and so forth, right? But overall, it does a good job, right? So that was one exercise. Now this is another exercise. Anyone, quickly tell me like what is happening here? Again, this is coming from a real world example. What is happening here in this graph? Is it composition? Is it composition? What we are trying to show here? A rising of fuel tax. No, look at the visualization. Are you able to figure it out, this visualization? Are you able to understand the insight out of it? When you look at this visualization, not easily, yes. Some of them are saying not easily. It's very difficult. That means it can
Yeah,
be
it's
improved.
difficult thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And also you look at when you say your visualization, when you write narratives there, right? When you write explanation for it, it's very difficult, right? Not everyone understands GST and everything, right? So this is one of the important lesson for your datathon. When you are presenting your visualization, your analysis, make sure it is very easy for audience, for the jury member. You are conveying your insight in terms of a story, not information. Information, you remember, it was just first step. You have to go to the knowledge and wisdom because some people need to take decision out of it, right? I think we are running out of time, but still. So I just wanted to give you some idea like data literacy is very important. It is not that easy. So your job as a business analyst is not in click sense. You simply put the data, ask insight advisor, it will generate some random graph. But why you need it? Because you need to make it easy, factually correct. It should make sense, right? Are you with me on this? Everyone is with me on this part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, let's move on because we have less time. Now look at this also. I think this one is the last one. How about this one?
It's too complex.
It's too complex. And what are the different component? One is the visualization. Then there is a data. If you look at the previous slide, on stack bar, we are not able to, we have to just judge whether it is above 2000, below 2000 or whatnot. There could be a
Yeah.
number on this stack, right? But if you look at this, there are numbers, right? It's little bit easy, but still not that easy, right? It is just throwing up some random numbers, right?
It is showing the numbers, but visually it's not that
Yeah,
good.
it's not that good, unlike the map one, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so why the map was selected in the first case? Because we wanted to show it state-wise. There was a demographic component was there, right? So this is how
Yeah.
these all are taken from the newspaper. It is not coming from the textbook, right? And these all are the very real life example. So now, if one thing you need to understand from this session is that when you look at the visualization from the graph anywhere, right, you look at it whether it's correct data is there, whether information presented in a very nice manner, easy to understand, can it be improved, right, could have been different graph, and so on and so forth. This is what your job as a data scientist or analyst is there, right? Not everything can be done by AI. So that means we have a lot of jobs. Now, this is one of the important quote that I like a lot. The greatest value of picture is when it forces us to notice what we never expected to see. So somebody like notice that color could have changed. There is no data point on the bars, right? Because once there is a data point, it helps us to reduce the cognitive load, right? So now summing it up, when you are looking at the data, first of all, you should understand from where it is coming, whether the data source is reputable, right? And correlation is not causation. This is very important. And first relations, right? So for example, if you see, like every day you carry a umbrella and it is raining, does that mean you are carrying umbrella? That is why it is raining. Yes or no? Right? Definitely not,
No, it's
right?
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not. So it is very important when you present your analysis or you get excited when you do first analysis, right? Correlation is not causation. You have to find a very factual explanation for your analysis or insight that you want to convey, story that you want to convey, right? Representative sample, right? So if I do something, let's say if you have a if something is true for computer science and engineering, if I do some analysis on that data set, is that also true for mechanical engineering?
No, it wouldn't be.
Right? Because it is not representative sample, right? They are different representative sample. Then confounding variable, whether where the dependent independent variable both are in impacting each other and so on and so forth. So these are the very basic fundamental. And you remember, if you know the fundamentals, then you're good to go. So moving forward, if you look at the nature also, right? In nature also, there are different kinds of visualization exist. It is a flow of blood, right? And if you look at geometrically, it is called fractal, right? Similarly, if you look at the leaves, they also represent some kind of structure, right? So even nature does different kind of representations for their visualization. So this was the first part of it, right? Is there any question before we move on to the hands-on? Anything that you would like to share? Or should I go ahead? Should I go ahead? Can you give me yes, no in the chat box? Okay, great. So now I will just share one small thing with you. That is one of my poster, right? So if you look at this, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a very prelim work which I did during the COVID-19. It is a very small hobby kind of work, right? So basically we took bunch of data from the Twitter and let me, if I can download it, that will be better. Just give me a minute. If I can zoom it, right, that will make more sense. I'll just need a minute here. Sorry. Okay, I got it. Sorry, it is coming very differently. Just a minute. If I can download it. Can I print it? No, wait. Maybe like I can zoom the screen itself. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's
Wait.
visible.
Yeah, I'm trying to, do it. Oh, sorry. Okay, I guess I can increase it here, but then I do not know how to do this. Reset it. Can I get rid of this? I think I cannot get rid of it. Anyways, so basically what I did here, if you look at the graph, very small graph here, that is, there is a one graph that you see below the optimal number of topic. So basically I took the different phase-wise data of the COVID-19, and the data was collected based on two keywords, COVID-19 and mental health, right, in different phases. And as the COVID-19 picked up, so there was a lot of discussion about mental health, because there was a lockdown and people were in their home and they were like completely, blown away with loneliness. First time they understood the loneliness, social interaction and everything, right? So as the fake COVID phases was changing in the real time, we were able to see it was depicting into the Twitter conversation also, right? Then what we did, it's a very simple thing. Then we also look at the WHO data, death data at the same time. In the same phase, we look at the WHO daily death, and we found that the Twitter, because it was a lockdown, you cannot go into the field and work and collect the data and do the observation, right? So social media was as a proxy to understand whether the social media discussion is depicting the real life situation on the ground. And we found we found the pattern, similar pattern. As discussions were going on, because the death rates were going on, right? So you see there are two similar pics there, right? Then we look at the typology. There is something called typology, right? So if we look at the positive sentiments, so whenever the lockdown were lifted, people were like, okay, let's go to the work, let's support each other. There was a crisis, but whenever there was a again pandemic, again the increasing magnitude of the pandemic, there was a high stress. So people priority changed. They looked at their well-being, right? But again, when there was a complete lockdown open and things were normalized, people started going back to their normal life, right? So you can look at this keyword thing, like people were trying to help, read, learn, and so on and so forth. So it was just one of the glimpses that if you have the data, how you can understand the real world happenings, right? That was one part of it. We'll have a short break and then we'll go for that. But if you don't have a break, you have just a small activity before we go to the this. Just give me a minute. Yes. So basically for all of you, I'm just putting this link in the chat. What you need to do is, it's just it's a water break for me, right? So can you see my screen? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what you need to do is, you need to discover your data persona. You need to click on this. You need to answer this question, and then you see like what you are getting out of it. There are 10 questions. So it is just a water break for me. We'll back in 5 minutes, and then we'll go on hands-on.
Okay, sir.
You need to post in the chat box if you are done. I
Yes, sir.
encourage
Okay, sir.
everyone. I encourage everyone to take this test. You will understand your data skills.
Okay, sir.
Anyone done so far? I hope you are
Yes,
taking
sir.
test.
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
So what data persona you got?
76%.
No, data persona. What
Very good,
persona you
sir.
got?
Very good.
There is a data persona, right? Whether you become a data guru or dreamer or what persona you got. There are 4 persona, right?
I got a data guru, sir.
Oh my God, that's good. That's good. Somebody got data driver as well, I guess. Yeah, so which is a data avoider, data newcomer, data apprentice. You can post it on your LinkedIn or anywhere you want, right? So basically, it shows like how comfortable you are with the data, right? It's a data literacy project, very famous thing, right? So somebody is data, Vaishnavi is a data avoider. You should not be a data avoider. Then I see many people. That means you need to little bit work hard. Somebody got a data group. Great, great, right? So should we resume or should we take 2 minutes or more?
Data newcomer.
Got data guru.
Good, 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 good. Post in chat box, right? You answered the question honestly, I guess, right? Yeah. And because it tells you, right, your what is current data literacy level you have, right, and where you need to go. And based on your data persona, it also gives you the ability to further improve. We'll wait for 2 minutes more and then we'll go ahead with the hands-on thing. You guys give me a thumbs up when you want to resume. Is everyone done?
Yes, sir. We can resume.
Okay. Okay, I think people are still okay. Great. So now let's go to the click. Okay. Let me share this screen. So what do you are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, what I'm showing you here is this website, right? COVID-19.India. Do you guys remember in the COVID-19 how important was this dashboard, right? Government was taking decision of unlocking, locking, allowing permission, everything. Was it a data-driven decision? Yes or no?
Yes,
Do,
sir. I think it was.
Yes, sir.
do you guys recollect how important it was to how lockdown will be extended or reduced, the timing and everything? Everything was very well data analyzed, very well, data-driven decision. This is what data-driven decision. And you know how people took the administration, common man, people decided to travel or not, lot of things, right? So just look at this visualization, right? So you see the visualizations are correct. First one, confirmed, active, recovered, diseased. Is this selection is correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly, because it is showing us the aggregate value, right? It is
Yeah.
showing us is the aggregate value and trained. At the same time, trained also, right? We are looking at the aggregate value, right? How many confirmed cases, active cases, so that at a glance we come to know. So sometimes you have to give the aggregate value. Then if you come behind, right, then the progress bar is showing us the vaccinated or unvaccinated or and so on and so forth. Then state-wise and so on and so forth. We will try to replicate it, right, in our click. I do not know whether I have exact data or not, right? So can you see my screen as well?
Yes,
The
sir.
click screen?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. We
Okay,
can
okay.
see.
Seems I got logged out. Not this one, I guess. Just give me a minute, right? I'll just log it. Okay, fine. So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let me go to the data load editor, right? And what is the first step I told you? Do you remember what is the first step? What is the first step?
Collect data.
Yes, go ahead.
Collect data.
Visualization.
Not visualization is not the first step.
Collect
Sorry.
data.
Collect the data. So in our case, data is collected. Imagine it is a reputable sources, right? We have just seen the dashboard. Can you see the
Yeah.
Excel sheet?
Yes,
First
sir.
of all, you have to look at the data, right? Do we
Yeah.
have a do we have a predefined question in our mind?
Yeah.
What question do we have? We don't have any question. We do not know. We
Right.
just have a data, right? Now we will look at this detectively on data. This is your data. Can you look at the Excel sheet?
Yes, sir.
So just take a moment, take a minute and tell me what is the possible visualization or what is the possible analysis you can do. In fact, before that, just try to understand data. What kind of data do you have? And give me in chat box. What kind of data do you have? Understanding the data. Remember the first step.
Like at a
Understand.
certain time, it is showing how many cases were confirmed, cured,
Okay.
and the
That is
deaths that
that
happened.
is the data description.
Okay.
Look at the. Do we have a time dimension data?
Yeah, it is showing the time frame, 6 p.m.
Time. What else? Do we have a time? What else we have?
Also shows the state.
Location.
Demographic or maybe visualize spatial data. Yes,
Yeah.
right. No, there are many state. I have just shown you only from one state, but there are many states. We look at this. What other data do we have?
Status of the person, sir. Patient.
Status, exactly. Status, categorical data you have. You remember categorical, numerical. So this is how you have to think during your datathon. If you are given a data set, first try to understand data set, right? Look at the data. Now we know we have a time, spatial data, we have categorical data. Then do you remember what operation you can perform on categorical data? What operation you can perform on categorical data if you have?
Pie chart.
You can show distribution, right?
Visualization.
Yeah. Good.
We can
Right?
use a pie chart.
Yeah, exactly. To show the distribution. Why pie chart? Distribution, whole part relationship, right?
I
You
think pie chart
remember?
would be better to show it as a whole. It would be
Yeah.
better and easy to understand.
Yeah, so you're thinking in right direction. So whenever you are selecting a particular visualization, you need to give reasoning also. Why I'm selecting that, right?
Yeah.
Or is that the correct one, right? And you have seen that even in the real world visualization, there is a scope to improve, right? So this is the typical data, right? Now we go to the now we go to this visualization in the click, right? So we spend time on understanding the data, right? Now if I go to the click, where is my, sorry, I need to reshare it or what? Okay. Just give me a minute. Entire screen. Okay, if I do entire screen, you are able to see the entire screen. Perfect. So now you are able to see my screen. Click.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So basically, I have used this. These are the fields, right, that we have seen in Excel. I load the data, right? So once you load the data, then what else we can do? We can go to the maybe like model viewer, right? So what is showing it currently? Only one table, right?
Yeah, it's showing one table.
Currently it is having only one table, right? Now let's
Yes.
go to the data manager, right? You guys know better all this, like what happens here. We can add more data, we can analyze the load script and so on and so forth. But better to go first this sheet, right? And once you go to the sheet, right? Can you see this? Right?
Yeah.
Right. So let me delete it. It's deleted now, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, can we use Insight Advisor? Let's go to the Insight Advisor. Let's see what Insight Advisor is saying us. It says explore your data, ask a question, create analysis, right? Ask a question. State, what question I can ask? Give me any question in chat box, please. Anyone? You know the data, date, time, state, confirmed, active cases. Anyone?
Number of active cases at a particular time.
It's not well-formed question. In which state max death happened? Yes. Let me post state with, let me put it like that only. State with maximum death case. So this is a natural language processing, right? We have put question, not in SQL query or something like that, right? Right. So average death. Now you see this I got, right? But now what is your job here as a data analyst or as a business analyst? Anyone? Go ahead. Anyone? Help me, please help me. What is your job here? Should we
Our
accept
job
it?
is to make
Yeah.
the data easier to understand and to make it easier for the others to understand.
Yeah. But now in this example, we asked the question, we got the answer. So what should we do now? Should we accept it blindly?
No.
Verify.
No, right. And this
Yeah.
is what called human in the loop. We have to look at. So what we were looking for? We were looking for ranking, right? State with maximum death, right?
Yes.
Right? So we were looking some kind of comparison kind of thing, right? And this AI was smart enough to understand it, and it shows that Maharashtra is having highest number of cases, right? So what I see in x-axis, average death and state union territory. So is the dimension correct? Yes, no?
No, sir.
Okay, so how can we improve it? I think it's correct, right? Let's add it to the sheet, right? Now it also shows here this distribution in terms of what? Map, right? So
Yeah.
let's add this to the sheet. I'll add this to the sheet. I think this table also does a good job. Average death. Okay. Let's add to the sheet, right? But I don't think so it is coming correctly, right? This 90, I'm not knowing like what information it is giving me.
Yeah.
Are you with me? Right? It doesn't make
Yes, sir.
sense. So I will not add it to the sheet, right? Now, what we can do? We can go to the sheet. So this was our sheet, right? So it shows that visualization is incomplete. I'm not able to see the visualization that we added, right? Now only I can see here. Let me go back to the home. Are you guys able to see anything?
Yes, sir.
It says visualization is incomplete, but again, I can only see the table, right? Nothing else, right? So let's go back. Yeah, okay. Okay, it's taking time, I guess, right? It's taking time because net is slow, right? So if you look at this visualization, right, this map one, which one is better, table or map? Ideally, this map should, the moment we put cursor on the map, it should show us like, you know, the state-wise death and everything. Similar like we have seen the vaccination kind of thing, right? Okay, let's go back to the different, let's go to the storytelling. Are we able to see anything? I think net is quite slow.
Yes, sir.
That is the problem with this cloud version. But anyways, so what one story we get out of it from this data? Anyone? What one story we are getting it? The state, which
It
is
shows
right? We can get some idea about the state where more attention is needed. Yes or
yes,
no?
sir. Yes, sir.
In terms of resources, in terms of care, right? Okay,
Yeah.
that may be coming one of the story. Then we could have seen this timeline as well, right? Okay, I mean, I'm really feeling very bad why I'm not able to show it, but what to do? Like, seems net is quite slow or what? Can we go back to the sheet? Ideally, this map was working when I made it for demo. Ideally, this map would do a great job, right? But anyways, let's move on and look at the another data that we have, and we upload another data, right? So I'll go to the data load editor. Okay, it says add data. Just a minute. So what is the total number of row we have? 18,000 something. This is really bad. The net is quite slow. Okay, meanwhile, again, we have to do the same practice. Again, we have to look at it. Do you think any other possible thing we can do apart from making map or getting the highest number of a state? What else we can do with this data?
Recovery. We can show the recovery rate.
Recovery rate, correct.
Yeah.
How will you show it? Will you show it as a trained? What
Didn't
kind of
get-
visualization?
Okay. I think
Like
a
which state
bar
is
graph would do good
okay? Why? What data
because we are
will
seeing
you
the rate
visualize
of
in bar graph?
recovery. It would also be easier
Okay.
to compare the other states in a bar graph.
Wow, good. So you can have a combo graph, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Good, good. So at least you are now able to make sense. Like, unfortunately, net is quite slow. But anyways, let's go to the another data. So you are getting hang of it, like what things you can do, and sometimes you can do what you can subtract and you measure the different columns, right? So for example, if I have a confirmed case, right? Okay. Oh, can you see another Excel sheet?
Yes, sir.
COVID vaccine is state wise, right? In
Yeah.
this, we have more information. Just look at the data set and your just give me in chat box like what possible analysis can be done. First, look at the data. What data you have, what analysis you can do.
I think that data is a little hard to perceive.
Okay. So basically, just look at the column name.
Yeah.
Total vaccinated.
Okay, it
Then there
shows
is a
the number of
there,
different vaccines administered.
gender. Can you show gender-wise distribution?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Gender-wise distribution of vaccination?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
We can. Yes, we can also show.
Is it possible to
which
show gender-wise
vaccine.
distribution?
Yes, sir. It's
How many
possible.
vaccination day-wise in India? Yes. Yes. Right. So if you have a time dimension, you can do such kind of analysis. Then what is total doses? What is total doses per session, right? Or per site? And what is the first dose? And so on and so forth. Then the different types of vaccine type. Yes or no? Hello? Anyone? So what I'm doing here, before going to the ClickSense, I'm trying to understand the data itself, right? let's, oh no, net is quite slow. It is still not loading it. Anyways, can I share this data in Zoom? No, I think, okay. Okay, so maybe like I have already shared with you this COVID-19 website, right? So idea is that only as they have displayed the information, right? Likewise. So you see how they have displayed the information here, right? Confirmed cases, they are showing trend of each particular status, confirmed, active, along with the timeline, along with the magnitude. Yes or no? Yes or no? Can
Yes, sir.
sorry. It got muted. Yeah. Am I audible now? Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to add new file now, right? So that we can have more insight, right? I have selected this state vaccination data. Cancel and load it. Okay, now if we go back to the, now we have another data, right? Let's go back to the data model viewer. So can you tell me, what do you see now?
Two tables, sir.
But they are not connected, right? They
Not
are still,
related.
yeah, they are not related. Had it been related, then you could have more joint query, right? It could have
Yes,
been
sir.
better, right? Okay, right. So I think I have one more data and then we will go final analysis, right? Can you see another Excel?
Yes, sir. Total samples
Yeah,
negative, positive.
correct. So let's add this as well. Go to the data load editor. Is this connected now? Do you
Yes.
see some difference?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
So now can you tell me what is the one property of click is very important here? You remember when we select one particular element on the table, there are two different colors. You remember when we do selection?
When we have
Associative.
similar values.
Yeah. Association, right? What happened just now? Association happened, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
how it happened? Based on
Connected
certain?
tables with similar values.
Yeah, exactly right. Yes. Data associated. Right. Okay. So this is how you understand like relationship among data, right? And now coming back to this sheet. So since we have now good amount of data, right? And now if you look at this, right? So it says like pick any analysis type. What we should do? Go ahead, tell me. Trained over time, right? So suggested measure, right? Okay, go ahead, view all analysis. Or ask question. What could be the interesting question now we can ask? Should we ask again this question and see what we are getting? Is this different now?
Yes, sir. It is different.
And it is now showing some number also, but I think it is giving some gibberish number, right? It is not giving us correct number, right? Yeah. So yeah, you see, this is what I want to tell you. So when you have this kind of visualization, right? Just on one click, you are getting all the information, right? So when you select this, instead of making 20 or 31 state-wise visualization, you can make one visualization where you can get all the information on the click, right? And there can be many more interesting things, right? It is just we are using this Insight Advisor, but if we go to the sheet, we can do bunch of things, right? It is just like a detective work. Let's create a new sheet. Create a new analytics. So what we can do? There are certain things that we need, like add a dimension, right? So for example, state, or we can look at the maybe like state. Did I select state? State. And then what you can do is like maybe like drop field as a measure, right? Count. So is the count correct measure here? Am I audible? Okay. The positive cases across the state, right? And so on and so forth, right? Can you tell me what other things we can do? Look at the data and tell me. So this is one of the first analysis you can say aggregation state-wise. What else?
Gender-wise vaccines.
Gender-wise, right? And so on and so forth, right? So for this point, like I think we have last 10 minutes or 5 minutes, right? Okay. So I'll just stop it here in terms of it. Like, I'm sorry I couldn't do much here because of this net thing. And I leave up to you, right? But the idea was I'll share all this data, right? I will strongly recommend you before your datathon, you just explore or replicate this entire analysis looking at the COVID-19 website, right? Will you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
That will be really a good exercise. So basically, I wanted to share some, the basic fundamental principle of data analysis, right? Understanding the data, making some interesting questions out of it, right? And then what are the do's and don'ts out of it, right? Whenever you are using the any kind of automated analysis, you cannot blindly go and accept it. You have to look at it. You have to understand your thing, right? Your understanding, whether count is right or sum is right. For example, if you have a mobile number, imagine you have a mobile number. Will you count it or will you measure it? Will you sum it? What will you do? If you have a mobile number as a column, you will count it. Correct. Product ID, order ID. You should understand you will count it, right? You will not sum it. So these are the very basic fundamental things that you can do. Now I'll be just quickly, as promised, I'll quickly, let's look at this, some of the click, job market kind of thing that I have a quick story to share with you. Then I'll just stop it, right? Okay, so basically, are you able to see my slide? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So this is my journey with a click. These are my students. I taught a full semester course long back 2018, and this story was published along in the click, right? And the interesting part was that it was very hard class. I'm a very district teacher, right? So it was completely hands-on. They had to sit in the class. They had to do each and every activity recommended by click, but the outcome was amazing. 87% people were, in my class. They were able to qualify those exams because it's a completely hands-on exam. And out of that, 30% student got, internship opportunity, right? So this is, and I can personally, from my experience, I can tell you, compared to any other technology, right? Click helps you a lot. What is the question here, sir? Can we get any link or glance for click certification references as to appear attempt in Datathon? Yes, there are various resources on Click website that you can look into this, right? By the way, I didn't get question correctly. Can we get any info glance or Click certification? Okay, so you can look at the Click website for there is a lot of information on certification as well as qualification. I think you are eligible for qualification, right? And you can later on take certification as well. So this was the outcome. So the point I want to make here, if you do it nicely, you are really in good hand, right? Then I'll quickly just leave this, right? Just look at the sum of the job. What are the expected from the business analyst, right? This is a job posted by Accenture, all right? And if you look at this, what experience they are looking for, right? And any graduate, what is the project role description? Analyze an organization and design its process system. Assessing the business model, integration with technology, assess current state, identify customer requirement. This is why I was telling you, look at the data, look at the problem, right? And then research, gather, synthesize, right? So these are the broad definition. But if you look at this, right, I'll share this slide with you, right? If you look at this, what you need to do as a business analyst, right? As a business analyst, you will be responsible for analyzing an organization, designing its process system, blah, blah, blah. But what is more interesting is that your typical day will involve researching, gathering, synthesizing information to assess the current state, identify customer requirement, define the future state or business solution, collaborate with cross-functional teams. That is why your communication skill is very, very important. Problem solving is very, very important. Like, no, strong analytical skill is very, very important. That is why I ask you to do that data literacy test. You don't need to be a data avoider. You need to be a data guru, right? This is how you need to solve the problem, right? This is by the way, ClickSense, Accenture. Now, if you look at the ClickSense, right? Some click jobs, click developer, right? This is one of the job posted by the company on a LinkedIn, exponential.ai. And what they are looking, if you look at this, what they are looking, right? So they want you to have a ClickSense based BI application as per the requirement, do click scripting, right? Able to understand the requirement, gather, right? Most importantly, develop reports, geoanalytics, maintain enhanced rebuilding size of ClickView sense, right? And you have to communicate with the client, right? So you need to be really, really a good team player, right? And some of the success story from my class that I'm really proud of these two stories. So if you look at this, so this is Anurag. Anurag was from my batch. I taught. You can look at the Anurag profile. He's now tech lead in ClickSense at this company. He's working there last 4 years, right? And this is the message he sent me during the COVID-19. That he told me like the classroom learning helped him to become a business analyst, right? And currently he's a tech lead, and there are a lot of opening in his company, right? So yes, it happens. And this is another story, very interesting story, Rahul Roy. You can verify on the LinkedIn. So Rahul Roy was a mining engineer, right? Coming from a completely different background, but he worked hard. He did all the click qualification certification. Now he's a business data analyst. He changed the job as well, right? So what I want to tell you out of this story is, right? Now you look at the Rahul story, mining engineering. Then he goes on to do internship in BI, then junior data analyst, and so on and so forth. He become business data analyst, right? Even he published a book chapter with me. This is my book that I edited, designing a real-time dashboard for pandemic COVID-19 using ClickSense, right? That's all, guys. That's all from my side. So any question, I'm open. I'm open for any question, right? Any question you have? We have last 5 minutes. No question? So the datathon is commission based on how well do we analyze the data? Was it true? So it's like you have to present some analysis out of it, right? Yes or no? You'll be analyzing some data set, right? I do not know whether you have already completed this ClickSense certificate qualification, or you are still learning. You are going through currently. You are learning, good. So if you are learning currently, I will strongly recommend you do each and every exercise. Learn it hands-on, right? And try to get lot of data from Kaggle and try to replicate that, right? Let me give you one quick data set for your practice, right? So everyone is familiar here with Kaggle. Kaggle. So this is a very amazing exercise, right? You are not familiar with the Kaggle? Okay, okay. So let me quickly show you if you are not familiar with Kaggle, right? Very quickly. So this is a Kaggle. You can create an account on your, you can create an account. You can get all the data, and you have to replicate this analysis. This is a very good visualization, right? With all the data, you can replicate it into the ClickSense, right? And try to understand. Not only make this, I have shared the link with you. Not only making visualization is important, but also understanding it, explaining it properly. Any further question do you have? Yes, no? So thanks.
Good evening, Manikant sir. Shikha here from VJIT, the Training and Placement Officer.
Okay.
Thank you so much for beautifully explaining the details in the meeting today, in the boot camp today. We are doing a first ever datathon after almost 6 years of COE with the Click, and we
Okay.
really excited. Students also they have shown interest. So we
Yeah.
wanted to have this basic session today for the understanding, and we wanted to make it a huge success.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Unfortunately,
for your time.
this internet got, I think this data got over or something like that. I
It
couldn't much
happens,
demonstrate.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
idea was to educate them how to do good datathon, right? How to
Yes,
think over a data, when visualize it, not just making random charts, right?
absolutely. Sir, we would obviously request more of your time in coming days. This definitely, we sure as a learning is not enough. What I believe of understanding, hearing you, we need more of knowledge from you. We would,
Sure.
request more of your time in future as well. And by
I
the
will
time, I
go.
think students can, experience more of what you have taught today and, come up with even more deeper understanding.
Yeah. In fact, because I have personal experience with this, Click, and I strongly recommend if you're looking at the entry level jobs in the market, there are a lot of jobs, right? And it is easy to learn, and it is exciting also. Being a business analyst, like being a detective, right? You make beautiful visualization, you look at it, you try to find explanation of it,
And
right?
every
So
sector, every industry needs a business analyst. Yeah.
yeah, and even in our life also, right? We need some kind of analysis: which product to buy, which not to buy, where to eat, where not to eat, whether to go this restaurant or that restaurant, right?
Correct.
Whether to go in daytime or evening
Financial,
time or lunchtime. Yeah, go ahead, please.
especially financial analysis.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll be happy to connect. I have shared my LinkedIn profile here, right? Happy to connect here. Feel free to put any question in my message box, but please be patient. I will take time to reply. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you once again. Thank you,
Thank you.
students, for joining in. And we're really
And madam,
looking
1 minute.
forward to successful.
Manikanta,
Yeah.
yeah, Manikanta, can we do one more session? If you are okay, we can do it either tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
I need to check with it. Right. Okay. I would love to do it. Like, let me just have to. I'll have to check it. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Because it
please
will be
check it out
weekdays.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
basically, whatever the knowledge, I hope we need one more session to get the knowledge for participating into this datathon. So, if
Yeah.
possible, please connect at least one more 1.5 hour session, which will
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
us. See, I'm okay to do it either in the morning hours, evening hours, afternoon hours in this
Okay.
week.
Okay.
No problem at all.
Okay, sure. So what we can do is, will we keep it like a meanwhile, let's have it like this. Let's have a homework, takeaway homework for a student. I will share with you all this COVID-19 data set, right?
Yes, please
And
share it to me.
meanwhile they work on it, right? Meanwhile they work on it, and when I take a session, they can share their dashboard, and I will also then do some value addition to that. Will that help?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and whatever the chat, whatever the links you are sharing in the chat box, you can share it to me in my personal window
Yeah,
in the
sure,
WhatsApp.
sure. I'll share with you and Professor Sikha
Yeah,
on email as
I
well.
can say
Yeah.
yes, yes, I can share it with
Yeah.
the students.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
after that we can do it either on Friday if possible. I know it is a festive time, so for you also it is very difficult. Even though you're doing something for the society, right?
Right, right,
For
right.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure, it will be happy moments. So if anything
Yeah.
else discuss, I will discuss with you over phone. Not a
Sure,
problem.
sure. So let's keep it
Feel
very
free.
simple. What I'll do is I have shared two Kaggle links. One is COVID-19 and another is a data visualization. So my assignment for the student will be they should try to get all this data from the Kaggle, or I can share those data. I can help with that. With all the data, they should try to replicate it. I can write a very nice email. You can share the same email. And once they have made some progress, then I can join in and we can do again this two discussion. One is COVID-19 and this another one. I think that will be really good. And we should try to replicate the same in the COVID-19 in ClickSense, right?
Yeah, at least these two
Yeah.
sets, these two data sets, if you download and
Yeah.
you can how to convert into the ClickSense is also very helpful because if any data set later if they are getting, they can easily understand how to visualize using ClickSense.
But can you tell me some little bit like what is their background? I mean, where
They are
they are
come,
in the
they
journey?
are coming. No, they are coming from computer science background. Most of the students are from computer science background, and they are third year and fourth year students.
No, no. So in ClickSense, whether they have just started or they have
No, no,
completed
no.
this.
Already they are done with the Click certified.
Oh,
The
good,
student
good, good.
certification. Yes, 90% of the students are done with the certification.
Then I'm sure they will be able to make better dashboard than me. So
Yeah,
this
that's
is
right.
and
That's why. If you are giving one or two sessions like this, it will be very helpful to make the a beautiful dashboard.
so then it is very clear if they are qualified, they should able to replicate these two Kaggle, this Kaggle visualization project in
Yes,
ClickSense,
yes,
right? And you
yes,
can
yes.
also put some kind of award for them if the best project.
Yeah,
Maybe
already
I
we
can
are doing.
evaluate it.
No, that is what we are doing in the datathon, right?
Great,
So
great.
they definitely we are encouraging the students in different aspects. So please feel free to make one more session either on Friday or
Yeah,
Thursday. That's
sure, sure.
depends on
I'll
your
get back to you on this.
please.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
please,
yeah.
please, please.
Okay. I
Okay.
hope it was
Thank you.
useful. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Manikanta. Thank you so much for joining into the session and you spending a good amount of time with the students. If any student wants to share your feedback, please unmute yourself and feel free.
So good evening, sir. My name is Akshay, and I'm a second year currently. So I
Okay.
basically don't know anything about data visualization. I just started understanding the Power BI concepts also. I don't know much about this visualization. By this session, I came to know more about the data visualization and how to use it and what's the need of the data visualization. And thanks so much for introducing it, sir. Like I gained so much knowledge that I know I set my limits from this session. Like I need to achieve this point for to understand better. So thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Yeah, and always look at the visualization published in newspaper. That is a great exercise I always give my students. Look at the visualization published everyday newspaper. Improve it. They are not good, right? And you guys only told me it is not good. Yeah, keep it up. Thanks, Akshay.
Anyone else, guys? Then thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Bye,
Akshay.
Shubham. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye, Manikanta. Good night.